periods literally responsible for life. And there was uproar. The new period emoji, oh my goodness. Hello everyone, how's everyone doing? How are things? Welcome back to another video. This week, as you can tell by this stunning title that I have created after I recorded this, I am going to be talking all about periods. Now, I've kind of touched upon it in probably different videos that I've done, but this one is going to be dedicated solely to periods and talking about things like the shame behind them, why we shouldn't feel shame, how I manage my own period, and just some kind of different facts and stuff. And I think the point of this video is to really get people more aware of periods in general and why it's really just kind of this biological function that shouldn't be shamed or you shouldn't be embarrassed by or anything. And yeah, I'm fascinated by them, and just the more knowledge that I've gotten, the more power I feel in my body, and just the more confident I feel in talking about it and just telling other people, and you know, that they don't have to be embarrassed by their periods. So let's get started, I guess. So I guess first of all, to kind of touch on the shame aspect, like, it's so funny because like it's shocking to me that I'm here even recording a video on periods, because I mean, I don't even know, a couple of years ago I probably never would have even talked about it. I mean, like I was just so like embarrassed, like everyone was. You know, I remember being in school, maybe I think I was 15, and like I had violent cramps and I had no painkillers and I needed to go home. And I was in an all-girls school, like, you know, everyone there had a period. It wasn't like, it was like boys were there, that made it weird. But I was still so embarrassed. And that's, I think, one of the bad things is that, like, even around other women who all have periods, we're still so embarrassed. Like, that's how deep the shame goes. And I remember I went up to my teacher and I was just like, yeah, I feel sick. And like, everyone behind me was laughing because they all knew that I was dying of cramps from my period. But I was just like, I might feel sick. And I think the teacher knew as well. But we all just pretended like it was just, my tummy was just sore from like non-menstrual bleeding. But yeah, you know, and so like, it's shocking to me that I'm even here making this video. But I just think we all just need to kind of just realize that it's just this bodily function. And I think what's really helped me in reframing the whole narrative around periods is that it's literally responsible for life. Like, it's literally responsible for life. Like, if women didn't get periods, they could not get pregnant. There would be no life. Like, literally, it's responsible for life. Like, you can have all the semen you want, you can have all the eggs you want, but if there was no period every month to prepare your body for pregnancy, and you get your period and then your body tells you that it's not pregnant, there would be no life. Like, the period is literally responsible for life. And I think we need to kind of reframe the conversation around periods. And like, when that kind of clicked with me, I was like, oh my god, I feel such power in having it now. And it really, I guess, connects me to my womanhood, in, you know, not to get too cliche, but I feel now strong, and I actually like getting my period every month because I'm like, yeah, I just feel super, super strong or something. And like, I would not have felt that way a couple of years ago. And so I think I really want to spread that message to people that like, they are nothing to be ashamed of. They should actually be celebrated, and there should just be people bowing at our feet that we are literally capable of forming life. Like, it's just this huge thing. And I'm just so angry that the narrative has been of shame, you know, and we spend years, you know, shoving tampons up our jumpers when we go to the bathroom for fear that anyone would know that we're on our period, or you know, we take painkillers kind of privately or kind of, you know, on the sly. And I'm just like, not gonna do that anymore, and I don't think anyone should. And I think, you know, what's so interesting, and you kind of see this meme going around, it's like, you know, men are more repulsed by period blood than they are by, like, you know, blood caused from violence or war. Like, blood is fine apparently. But then when it's from our womb, it's just this disgusting thing. And I so don't agree with that now. It's so funny because if anyone ever was like, are you on your period or something? If I was, I would be like, yeah. Like, I just don't see the shame in it, and I don't think you should either, and I really want to just drive that home. So yeah, as I said, I really, you know, I welcome my period every month, and I really am just trying to celebrate it. Obviously, it's so hard. Like, as with many people, I get really, really bad cramps. You know, I have to have painkillers. If I didn't have painkillers, I literally could not go to work. And like, I'm so lucky that I'm able to afford painkillers and that I have access to them all the time. I just can't even imagine what it would be like to not have that. Like, horrific. So I'm really lucky that I can welcome my period every month because I can manage it so well. It's also really handy to know that I'm not pregnant. Like, I think it's really about flipping the script. Like, I am so delighted every month when I get my period because I'm like, yes, I'm not pregnant. And I just think it's so cool that like your body has this own natural way of telling you that you're not pregnant. Like, it's so cool. Like, don't have to take a test, don't have to go to the doctor, your body just tells you. And I honestly think it's amazing and it's fascinating. And as well, I mean, like, getting your period is a sign that you're healthy, you know, you're a good weight, you may not have, obviously, like, you could have other problems and still get your period, but it is a good sign, you know, if everything is working as it should, it's a good sign that your body is working, and that's honestly amazing, and I love it, and I think it's fascinating, and I'm just like, yes, I'm doing my thing, this is all working as it should, like, and I really have just tried to change my perspective on it and flip the script on that, and it's really worked. Like, I'm so excited to get my period every month. I just think, yeah, I think it's great. I also use a cup. I thought I should mention, while I'm doing a video on periods, I should talk about how I manage mine as well as the painkillers. I use a cup. So I'm not going to get too much into it today because there are so many videos on cups. But yeah, it's the menstrual cup. You know, you put it in the morning, and then you leave it in for about 12 hours and you take it out that night. And it's honestly life-changing, and I just wanted to give it a shout out while I'm doing this video. Like, so many reasons. Like, oh, quickly, I mean, the cost, you don't have to buy tampons or pads every month, you buy it once, and then, I mean, they say maybe replace it every 2 years, but like, I'd say you could keep it for a really long time. The cost, for the environment, like, you're not throwing away used tampons, used pads, you just reuse the same thing every month. The protection, oh my god. It works by suction, so like you literally put it, it's tiny, it's like that size, you put it up your cervix, and it works by like suction, so it actually creates a suction, and you can hear it as well. It's so funny. You can hear it when the suction is created, and then literally nothing gets through. Oh my god, like, you could wear white jeans. Like, that's the level of protection we're talking about. Amazing. So yeah, I'm so lucky that I have, you know, the painkillers and the cup, and I feel like I'm not on it then, and it's amazing, and yeah. Brilliant. However, one thing I did want to talk about, which I've only kind of recently learned, is that we may not actually need to get our periods every month. Like, I think we kind of say like, oh yeah, it's really healthy for you to get it every month, which, I mean, I personally like that aspect of it. But what I'm learning lately is that there are a lot of people talking about how we may not actually need to get it. So like, for example, like back in the day, when we didn't have contraception and we didn't, you know, there wasn't really family planning, the time when you'd have like, you know, 8, 10, 14 kids, women were pregnant for a lot of the time. Like, from the time they started getting their periods to menopause. Like, if you had, say, 10 kids, that's at least 10 years of your life, really, that you're not gonna have a period. And so, kind of evolutionarily, our bodies aren't actually really used to getting our periods all the time. So it's kind of like, okay, is it even like that healthy for us to be getting them every single month? Because our bodies are simply not actually used to that. But also, you know, it's the stress of what your body goes through every month. Like, is it necessarily healthy for your body to be preparing every month to have a baby in there and then the baby doesn't come? In terms of like the hormones and the literal stress of cramps and everything, like, is it actually that healthy to put your body through that every month just for no baby to come? And it's fascinating, and like, that's all I'm really good at saying it because I don't know enough, and I've only recently heard this, but it's really, really interesting. And there are actually a lot of people talking about this now, so I recommend a Google, and it's just, yeah, it's really interesting. And then one other thing that I wanted to mention was, in kind of relation to this, is like, you know, people who are on the pill, and the ones where you say you take it for 3 weeks and then you go off it for a week, or you go on a placebo for the week to get like a fake period, or, you know, basically have some kind of menstrual bleed. A lot of people do that, and it's now basically coming out that we don't have to have that week break at all. There's no actual need for it at all. Basically, the backstory behind it was that the man who invented the pill, he thought that he thought that it would be more acceptable to the Catholic Church to introduce contraception if there was this monthly break, that women were still bleeding, it's so interesting because in ways we're completely shamed for it, but then in ways it's like a sign of your virtue or something. It's just this complete mindfuck, and you just can't even begin to understand. But that was actually the reason behind why this week break was given, to make it more palatable to the Catholic Church, that we were still, you know, getting our periods, we're still maybe being, you know, acceptable to life and all these things. And it's basically just kind of come out now that like we actually don't need that week at all. It was purely to appease the Catholic Church, and it has nothing to do with health, with our bodies, with, you know, being good or whatever. Like it literally doesn't mean anything. So you can literally take the pill continuously, like take it every day and not get your period. And going back to the fact that a lot of people are saying that we don't actually need them anymore, that's fine. You know, it's really interesting. And I won't touch too much upon, you know, whether the pill, you know, being on the pill for years and years and years kind of hinders your ability to get pregnant. I just simply don't know enough. But from what I've seen and what I've read, apparently, no, it doesn't. It shouldn't anyway. But one interesting thing that I've learned recently is, you know, they kind of, like, it was kind of a set for a long time that, like, say if you've been on the pill for 5 years and now you want to have a baby, they say kind of wait maybe 3 months for the pill to be totally out of your system and then start trying. But something I've learned recently is that you should actually maybe start trying straight away. Like if you come off the pill on a Tuesday, like literally start on the Wednesday. And it's explained almost like snakes out of a can, that because your eggs or, you know, whatever weren't being released for so long, that like when they sense this break from the hormones, that they're like, get out, get out, get out. And then you should actually try and get pregnant then. And then like, and it's actually like this kind of, it's quite new, but a lot of people have reported getting pregnant straight away because of this kind of effect, this kind of snakes out of a tin can thing or something. So I just thought I'd pop that in there because I just think it's fascinating. Again, I am not a medical professional at all, but that's what I've heard from professionals. So yeah, feel free to take that with a pinch of salt. I definitely also want to mention trans men. So obviously trans men, they were born with, you know, a vagina and a period and then transitioned to men. And I think it's super useful to remember that it's not just women who get their periods. And, you know, it's sad. It's reported by a lot of trans men that, like, you know, getting their period every month, you know, make them feel like less of a man. And, you know, I think it's just super useful to be just aware that, like, you know, there will be trans men who will still need to buy tampons and pads and everything. And recently, I think it's worth noting that Always, the tampon or the pad brand, maybe they do tampons as well actually, they removed the Venus sign from their packaging. So Venus is associated with women, and they actually removed that from their packaging to make it more trans inclusive. And there was uproar from everyone. And like, it's just so funny because like I don't buy pads or tampons anymore, but like I never noticed that there was this Venus sign on it, so it literally makes no difference to me and a lot of people who were complaining. But it can make all the difference to a trans guy who is like, oh my god, I feel this is so much more inclusive to me, and takes account of the fact that I too get a period, and but I am a man, you know. So that, yeah, I wanted to give that a shout out and make sure that everyone is aware of that. And just to finish up, you know, I just wanted to give a shout out as well to the new period emoji. Oh my goodness, it came about 3 weeks ago. Plan International, they're a huge worldwide organisation working for the sexual and reproductive health rights of women and girls. And they fought for this so hard to be included, and there were so many designs and submissions, and it finally came to phones about 3 weeks ago, and so I'm so excited, and I love using it, and it's amazing. So I would encourage you all to use it. It's almost like the water drop, but it's just red, and it's stunning. So I'll finish on that happy note, and I hope you all enjoyed this video and found it useful. I'm sure I'll be talking about periods a lot more in the future because I'm obsessed. But that was just today's introductory one, I guess. So have a lovely week, and if you have any questions, leave them below. Leave a comment. You're all great, fantastic. And I will see you all in next week's video. Thank you so much. Bye!